news with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, we've talked about the house cat. Now we're going to talk about the dogs. A pug in North Carolina has tested positive for coronavirus, which may be the first such case for a dog in the U.S., this is according to NBC News. The dog, Lil Winston, was part of a Duke University study in which a whole family in Chapel Hill was tested for the virus. Mom, dad, son, pug, all tested positive. The daughter and another dog and a cat tested negative. The son said it made sense the dog caught the virus because, quote, the dog licks all of our dinner plates and sleeps in my mom's bed.
Now, are the dogs?
Can you sniff another dog's ass from beyond 6 feet?
That is a good question.
I know.
Dr.
Fauci.
Fauci.
Be downwind, yeah. It's got to be rough for the dogs. Although I do take my dog for a walk. My dog's 110 pounds and not trained. And if I run across anyone else who has a big dog who's not trained, they go at each other just to have fun. And there's really not much I or the thin woman can do who's trying to wrangle her dog. And they just go into basically it's a standing 69 position. It's a 69 yin yang. You know,
Yes,
it's kind of a side.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a side mount 69.
Right.
And it always gets really uncomfortable because it always starts cool. It starts face to face. And look at her. She loves her. She needs a little friend. And then there was always a discussion. We used to have a lab. How old is that lab? Blah, blah, blah. And then at some point it goes into a full inhaling of each other's assholes. Right. And then it gets weird with you and the couple who are walking the dog.
You just described every second date on Tinder. See, without an audience, I came up with that. Please hold for the laugh. I know that people at home are still guffawing. I would imagine that if a dog gets COVID-19, does it have the same symptoms as us? Do you know that? Does it lose its sense of smell and taste?
They asked about that with this pug, and they said that, pugs have a weird way of breathing and sneezing and everything because their little faces are all mashed together. But she said he stopped eating, and he sounded like he was wheezing. So there was a difference in the way the dog behaved. And by the way, I was going to mention, and Adam, you probably noticed this because I know you saw a bunch of clips, for Weekend Update on SNL, they invited, I don't know, it sounded like maybe a dozen people to shut their videos off and just listen on Zoom and laugh along with the jokes just to see if it made a difference. So,
really?
Just like how he said, like those sound cues that this is a joke, and you could hear people opening up their mics and just giggling. So they might do that again. You didn't like that?
I didn't like that. I'll tell you why. Because I'd rather have no one than 6 people.
Yeah.
6 people connotates you didn't sell out.
Right.
It's like Adam was referring to later, the 1,000-seat theater with 136 people in it. You don't want that sound. So I'd rather be silent, there's nobody there, and assume, like I do in my own mind, that I'm just killing, rather than hearing 6 people. I found that kind of distracting. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I think they're just experimenting. It'll be interesting what they keep evolving this into, no matter how long it goes. JetBlue Airways will require passengers to wear face masks or other coverings beginning May 4th. They're going to become the first U.S. airline to do so during this pandemic. That's according to USA Today. The move by the New York-based airline comes amid this increasing call from airline union leaders and consumer groups and elected officials about the need for face coverings to slow this virus. People aren't getting on planes, but Canada has us beat. They went a step ahead as last week they added a new policy that requires all air travelers to cover their face. So they're not leaving it up to individual.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Our neighbors to the north.
Did you see the American Airlines flight that was totally full with people without masks?
No.
Oh.
I don't know when this airs, but as we tape this, I just saw this today. There was a full flight of American Airline, American passengers that from one of the states that has opened much more than we have here in California. I can't tell you where it came, but it angered me so much because there's no social distancing, there's no masks, and they're on an airline, which means that they're traveling them all over the place to infect us each and every place.
God, I didn't. I did not see that, but Howie, you did, which is interesting because there's 4 of us here. And you're the only one who saw it.
No, well, somebody, while I'm talking, Google American Airlines flight today.
Oh, okay.
People
I saw it.
How did you find it, or how does it find you?
I saw somebody on. Oh, there it is.
Right. So here's the thing. I don't know that much about how this media, social media, and this kind of stuff works, but it didn't pop up in mine and it popped up in yours. Is that a coincidence, or does that mean yours knows there's more of that waiting for you, and I'm looking at car parts or something?
No, I actually saw it on. I'll be honest with you. I saw it on television, and I saw it on. I can't remember what show it was, but it might have been the Today Show. It was on. But I look at everything. I suffer from FOMO. You know, that fear of missing out. So I spend all day. The TV is on 24/7. It is on every channel, a different channel in every room, and I wander and pace back and forth. I am nuts. And then I'm all, when I'm not doing this, then I'll just sit on my phone and go through, Twitter and all the news sites, and just to gather. I probably gather more. It's not good for me. Ignorance is bliss, and I am miserable. So does that mean I'm smart?
It's another good book title.
Well, look, I just like the idea of in our book, you going on a soliloquy about how insane you are, and then you pause and go, but if there's a broken bulb and it's still in the socket, use half an apple to remove it.
Practical.
Yeah, sound.
All right. What else we got, Gina?
Well, speaking of that, the NBA will begin allowing teams to open their practice facilities to players on Friday, May 1st, but only in cities and states where governments are easing stay-at-home orders. So people are really chomping just to get out and get back to things.
These guys are strong. They're healthy. There's some evidence that some of it's already moved through the NBA community.
The NBA was the first big corporate structure to shut down.
That's
the
right.
NBA, remember that guy was touching the mic? The NBA were the first people that were getting it. So it just seems, again, to me, that's like Georgia opening up the hair salons. And I don't know that there's just so much personal confrontation. And I would see if golf opened up, that could be... That makes sense.
No, I agree.
Opens up.
These guys, I think, are super fit, super strong, and I think they may be asymptomatic if they got it. I think some of the stuff I heard is that a lot of people did have it but didn't show.
Oh, okay.
But I would like them to play. Maybe no audience or something. I don't know. Is the season done for this year? I had a conversation with my son about who's disappointed and who isn't, but
I think it's barely hanging on. Chris can look this up, but I don't know if this is shitting on your point or not, but LeBron James, who is 34, 30, whatever he is, 35, I don't know what he is, but he's getting up there in age and minutes played, and he had some sort of quote, Chris, can you look it up, about like basically if they brought the season back just for the playoffs or like 1 week to the playoffs, he's like, I'm not going to play. I'm old. I'm not playing.
Yeah,
that's the league's biggest star on the league's best team, or at least one of the best.
Well, he already said that he didn't want to play in front of no audience, I think was one of his things too. So I don't know if that is, I don't know if that's part of it.
As comedians, we come full circle.
I mean, I get he doesn't want to play, but he's still not. I don't know what his age. I don't. If you're 0 to 60, it's not a big deal. I don't know if there's a difference between 25 and 35.
In the NBA, 35 is old.
No,
Wait, are you talking about the NBA or the ability to recover from corona?
I'm talking about the virus.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's all about getting up to game speed.
Not getting into shape.
He's not talking about the virus. He's all about I'm not walking off my couch and going to the playoffs.
Oh,
at least that's what I remember. Chris can verify that.
All right. But I also remember him not wanting to play in front of an audience or in front of no audience, I should say. But anyway, all right.
Well, it's not just about those kind of athletes. There's another kind of athlete that is suffering silently as we all...
Oh,
hello?
Gina froze up.
Wow.
In the middle of...
It's the audio person that is suffering silently.
Adult websites. Right. Oh. But...
wait,
sorry, I think
Gina, sorry, repeat it. You broke up.
Yeah, it's saying that my connection is unstable. The porn industry is booming right now with just people downloading and streaming and doing whatever they're doing to watch. But guess who that's hurting? The actual production and the actors are going unpaid and they're not working because, of course, productions have shut down. The ultimate lack of social distancing. So there, it's costing production houses money. It's costing the actors money.
Hold on, Howie.
And
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because I really was thinking about this the other day. There are guys out there who cannot pee in front of other guys or next to other guys. They cannot go into a ballpark and go into a public restroom and stand next to a urinal while another guy's urinating. And as a matter of fact, there's a lot of those guys out there. Like it's much higher than you would think. And when you bring it up, someone will raise their hand and go, yeah, I got the same thing. Like I can't do it if a dude's standing next to me, right?
Right.
Do you think there is such a thing as a male porn star who can operate in the porn world, no problemo, but has that problem when he goes into a public bathroom to urinate? Meaning he can take his big dong out and dump a load on anyone's forehead in front of guys holding boom mics and cameras and makeup people and gaffers. But if he goes into a bathroom of a TGI Fridays and another dude is standing next to him, he can't take a whiz.
Well, the answer, my guess, and I haven't done a survey, is no. I mean, I would imagine they could piss, they could shit, they can do, and it doesn't matter where they are. I'm one of those people. It's not about standing next to me. It's about talking to me. If you're talking to me, if you're standing at the next urinal, first of all, I don't go in the urinals anymore because I go into the voting booth because I don't want to be talked to.
Right.
But people do. Do you find that you're a known entity? If you're in a public restroom and somebody comes, first of all, that isn't social distance. From one urinal to another, we're like shoulder to shoulder. And do people open up conversations with you? And if they do, can you pee?
Anyone who works at the studio can answer that.
Ace man, nice balls.
What I'm best known for, well, not best known for, but probably most respected for, is when we did a Man Show episode, we'd pull out the Wheel of Destiny, and somebody would come out from the audience and spin the Wheel of Destiny. And the Wheel of Destiny had equal parts great and equal parts horrific. So they had get a sponge bath from a juggie would be a good thing, or win a canoe full of pornography would be a good thing. But on the other side, it would have do a bong load of Adam's pubes or Adam pees on your wallet. And it landed on Adam pees on your wallet. And I remember, well, because the guy was a pilot and he had his pilot's license. He had a big thick wallet. He had pictures of his kids and stuff in it. And they just wheeled out a urinal on casters. You know, they didn't hook it up or anything. They just wheeled it out, turned it around. And I threw his wallet in the toilet in the urinal. And I just turned my back to the audience and just whipped it out and started whizzing all over his wallet, which was fine with me. And I think we handed it back to him with tongs. But after the show, everyone kept coming up to me going, "Hey man, you're my hero." And I was like, why? Because I couldn't pee in front of all those people that quickly.
I know you are. You just told me a story that is so unbelievable and so amazing, and it should be at the Guinness Book of World Records. Not only did you pee in front of an entire, not one person, an entire audience watching you talk about, that's actually peer pressure. But the point, but the fact that you were able to pee and focus on peeing, but not only focus on peeing, to this day, you remember every element of that wallet. His pilot's license, the kids' pictures. That is what is amazing about this story.
I remember, we all know the guy with the fat wallet, like the unusually fat wallet. It was more prevalent in 2001 than it is now before all the plastic, but he was a fat wallet guy. And I do very clearly remember the pictures of the kids and the pilot's license. I was gonna douse it all, and I probably wouldn't remember it except for people kept coming up to me saying what a hero I was for peeing on this guy's wallet in real time. Chris, is that on the internet somewhere? Can you find that?
I'm still looking for the LeBron story, actually, which I'm not finding.
Well,
I'm sure I could find that.
It sounds completely justifiable and accurate that LeBron James went, "I'm 35. I need to warm up into this."
I'm just happy that
now unearth this video.
I believe
This
that
is another
story.
reason why I like being here. This is the first time I got to see Chris on camera on Zoom, and it's good to see that in quarantine he's sans cat hair. The last time I was there, he was filled with cat hair. There wasn't a cat in sight.
That wasn't me.
He was trucking it in.
That wasn't me.
That was
All right,
Caleb.
you can look for that, Chris. I'll hit Omaha
and
Steaks.
Actually, I do have a quote from LeBron on April 8th where he says, "I don't think I'll be able to have any closure if we didn't have the opportunity to finish the season."
All right.
Wow.
Let's see.
You know what? I'm actually gonna. Your advertising work. I'm actually gonna. When I get off of here, I'm gonna order. I love steak. I like Omaha Steaks, and I didn't even think this time more than ever they must be through the roof.
Oh God, they got to be busy. All right.
Oh.
Do we have? Sorry, if you find it, tell me, Maxipad. If not, Gina, you can move on to the next story.
All right. Well, a contestant on Price is Right shot his shot with his ex-girlfriend while spinning the wheel on the game show. So this dude's name is Paris, and he made his way to the wheel spin during Monday's broadcast with Drew Carey. He gave him a chance to say hello to anyone he wanted. He said hi to his boys. He listed all his friends. And then he decided to seize this opportunity to try and win his ex back. Here's what it looked like.
Chris D'Elia,
Hold on. Here we go. Another 50 would be great. Let's get another 50.
And hi to my ex-girlfriend. I still love you. And let's give it another shot. Woo!
Oh, God bless you. 90.
Good spin.
She's got to love you now. You just spun the 90 on the wheel.
So people are now kind of curious about this guy and what happened with the ex. So he's been on Twitter and his, people asking, well, did you get back together? And he wrote, and I quote, "Thanks. She doesn't want to see me, but I think it's just 'cause of the Rona. We'll keep you posted."
That's good.
This guy seems super unattractive and super animated. Like not unattractive
Winning
visually,
combo.
but I feel like I'd get poked in the eye if I went on a date with him. Like his
Yeah, a bit of a
arms are
whirling dervish.
flailing. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You
Yeah.
know who would hate this guy? Cats. Cats would hate this guy.
Yeah, unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Howie, do you have cats? Do you have dogs? What do you have in the pet
We have
department?
dogs. I don't have any cats. I have dogs. We've had cats in the past. My kids and my wife are allergic to cats, but we have dogs. I love that this guy is so. He thinks. I love his self-esteem.
Mhm.
He thinks we
Yeah.
could see it in a second why she's not here, but he's
Right.
It's the pandemic. If it wasn't the pandemic, she would
She'd
be
be
the
back.
missus.
Together.
I know that.
Yeah,
I love
that's right. So Felicity Huffman's oldest daughter is apparently smarter than her mother thought she was. Last year, of course, the actress pleaded guilty to paying $15,000 to have her teen's SATs answers fixed. But Sophia Macy, who allegedly had no idea about the scheme, has retaken the test and gotten into Carnegie Mellon. Huffman served the 11 days behind bars for her part in the college admission scandal, but the kid got into a good school anyway, so maybe it was all for nothing.
She get it? Did she pay for it, or did she get a scholarship? Yeah, she's on the rowing team.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. I don't care at all about this case. It's kind of interesting when shitty things happen to successful people and you get to kind of schadenfreude it. But other than the schadenfreude part of this, we really shouldn't care that much. And there are people who are definitely animated about these stories.
Oh, sure. And that's I think the juxtaposition, because with the Lori Loughlin case, the daughters ended up, I think, both dropping out of college. And now over here, not only did they not drop out, she retook the test on her own and did very well and got into essentially an Ivy League school.
Lori Loughlin's kids, or at least one of them, was like making $1 million a year off like Instagram
YouTube
or something,
and,
right?
YouTube,
And all that
yeah.
Olivia
stuff.
Jade.
Like, I don't know. I feel like, Howie, your son's got the entrepreneurial spirit. I know he was shooting rap videos in your Malibu mansion and without your consent back in the day.
I apologize. Yeah, you were across the street. Yeah, no, I'm not a proponent of this is going to further education. I believe in education, but I believe in educating yourself. Unless you, this is my thought, but unless you want to chase a specific skill, a skill. Like if you want to, you talked earlier about engineering, or you want to go into science or medicine, or that, those are the reasons. And I think that's kind of a narrow road to further education. I think everything else is kind of a waste of money and a waste of, and a way of procrastinating moving your life forward because you're just a student. That being said, you know, I'm somebody who doesn't have a GED, but I'm really curious and I read a lot and I have interests and I'm doing okay. You know, I have a daughter that's got a PhD. I got another daughter that's got a master's, and I have my son who also went to college. But I'm just saying that I don't know how, we're putting too much emphasis on this badge of honor.
I agree. And, you know, people, they make this argument where you go, hey, you want to be, you want to study cultural studies or art or humanities or creative writing or something like that. Like, what do you need to go to a college for that? And we all agree on the sciences and stuff like that. But what do you need? And then they'll always come up with plan B. It's like, what about the experience? What about socializing? What about interacting? Well, I'm not suggesting they drop out of college and move into a refrigerator box and I feed them fucking plain oatmeal. I'm saying join the military, go to work, be an intern, go to a construction site. You don't think you're interacting with people when you go into a workplace or you go into a construction site? It's like you are interacting all the time when you go. And I would argue interacting in maybe a more meaningful way when you're working for some high-powered whatever, or interning, or, you know, or maybe not interning, but working, starting out at a firm or something. Like you go over and you get a job over at Mark Garrigas's place in downtown, that's interaction. You're going to learn a lot. Or you you join the military, or you walk onto a construction site. Like you will, or you're an apprentice under whomever, whatever. There's plenty of interaction.
And that's also what you're suggesting is real life. And the point is, again, you're procrastinating not only a career, but you're procrastinating real life. And what happens is a lot of these young people who go to these colleges and there are a lot of really good places, but I think they're incredibly overpriced and incredibly overrated and an incredible waste of time, because I think that a lot of these courses, because of money, you know, it becomes a 4-year course, which possibly can be learned by anybody with half a sense of intelligence, could probably learn everything that they learned in 2 years instead of 4 years, but they got to be billed for 4 years. So there's really a waste of time and money. And then the pedigree that is given to somebody who goes to Carnegie Mellon or Harvard or Yale, you know, even in our business.
Let's see if we can do a real world test. Howie Mandel, what's your net worth? I'm just going to guess between 50 and 75 million bucks. Gina, Bald, you two peons, what do I pay you guys again?
It's a fraction of that. Small.
Okay.
Small, very sliver.
Well, I think I think the eyes have it, right, Howie?
You know, yes. In answering that question, yes. But it's not only the value of the money. It's the value of, like, get out there and go to the world. You know, I'm a proponent of 4th grade. Everything that I use in my life and in my business and in my time, I had by 4th grade. By the time you learn to read, you need to learn to read. You need to and comprehend. You need to learn to write so that you can communicate, at least know how to spell, but you got spell check. You don't need that. You learn how to tell time, and you learn adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, which is everything needed for finance. And I think that the biggest problem in this world is we all overthink. And that's why we don't do things. I think thinking is a bad thing. I think thinking is overrated, but though I haven't given it any thought.
That'll be the name of chapter 9.
I was going to say, you're writing this book in live time.
Yes.
Max Zapata, you have the clip of me urinating on the pilot's wallet?
Oh, my gosh.
Here it is.
Wow, that's some spin.
Adam Keys on your
Oh,
wallet.
my God.
We've hit the mother load. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, we had the urinal set up.
This is,
Oh, my God.
This is actually your wallet, not a prop. Oh, that's nice. Who's that? Is that your daughter?
That's you.
Oh. What is that?
That's my niece.
That's your niece? Okay, and is that your nephew?
Yep.
And what is this, your pilot's license?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to toss that in the...
Are you kidding me?
The guy was watching.
Adam has trouble controlling that thing.
Hey, don't talk. Let me phone.
Sorry, Mike. Mike, what do you think of Adam's genitalia?
No comment.
No comment?
He's staring at my chick.
There we go. Well, take a look in there. That's Mike's wallet.
He's really going.
Yeah, he's really.
My favorite part of this show is dreaming up what would go on that wheel.
And I'd like to make number 2 on your birth certificate if you happen to have it.
I don't have it with me, sorry.
You know, Adam, are you finished?
I got a little more.
All right. Try to seal that thing up, will you? All right, there we go. Yeah, shake, shake, shake. Give Mike his wallet back. All right, buddy.
Got the
Come
tongs
on,
out.
everybody. Let's have a nice round of applause for Mike.
Oh my God.
Give Mike the whole tongue. Yeah.
Howie, you're going insane.
Mike.
Howie, you're going insane, right?
Oh.
We broke
America's
Howie.
Got
You know what's
Talent,
funny
my
after all
ass.
that?
How about I piss on that show?
Okay, but here's the thing. What was funny is, first of all, you're like a superhero. You got to show that to the people at Marvel. That's another. You could be in the.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a superhero that nobody else, superpower that none of us have. But
Oh,
even
boy.
with all that, even with the audience, I heard you say, "Don't talk." You said, "Don't talk." Like the talk. If somebody was talking directly to you, that would have stopped. The audience is not a problem.
Yeah, that's
The fact
gauche.
that It's on demand. Just don't say a word.
Whizman. Yeah.
Whizman.
My catchphrase is "You're in trouble" when I point at the
that's
bad guys.
Oh, you wouldn't like me when I'm pissed. You don't want to see me
Wow.
pissed.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good too. Yeah. I doused his wallet and we pulled it out. And it was always a funny part of the Man Show because I would sit around and come up with the Wheel of Destiny. And it'd be like, well, you're going to have to talk to legal at Comedy Central and see if you can pee on someone's wallet. And like, I just remember like arguments like, well, look, what's the difference between tobacco and pubes, really? Like, what are we really talking about? I don't think doing a bong load of my pubes would be inherently dangerous. Or maybe we'll get them to sign a waiver. Like, there was so much gray area when we were doing that show about shit we could do and shit we couldn't do that it was just a constant negotiation.
Just the phrase, "What is the difference between my pubes and tobacco?" is not a question that's asked that frequently.
Almost never.
All right, shall we bring it home, Gina Grad?
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.